Learn to listen. Opportunity sometimes knocks very softly. Hello, friends. This is Sukhwant Singh. I'm going to share a story of a teacher, true life story. A teacher called Mildred Hondrof, wherein she writes about her experience of having come across a boy whom initially she had not taken a liking. But then you will see how things changed towards the end of the story. She writes, at the prodding of my friends, I am writing this story. My name is Mildred Hondorf. I'm a former elementary school music teacher from Des Moines, Iowa. I have always supplemented my income by teaching piano lessons, something I have done for over 30 years. Over the years, I found that children have many levels of musical ability. I have never had the pleasure of having a prodigy, though I have taught some talented students. However, I've also had my share of what I call musically challenged pupils. One student, one such student was Robby. Robby was 11 years old when his mother, a single mom, dropped him off for his first piano lesson. I prefer that students, especially boys, begin at an early age, which I explained to Robby. But Robby said that it had always been his mother's dream to hear him play the piano. So I took him as a student. Well, Robby began with his piano lessons, and from the beginning I thought it was a hopeless endeavor. As much as Robby tried, he lacked the sense of tone and the basic rhythm needed to excel. But he dutifully reviewed his scales and some elementary pieces that I require all my students to learn. Over the months, he tried and tried while I listened and cringed and tried to encourage him. At the end of each weekly lesson, he would always say, my mom's going to hear me play someday. But it seemed hopeless. He just did not have any inborn ability. I only knew his mother from a distance as she dropped Robby off or waited in her aged car to pick him up. She always waved and smiled, but never stopped in. Then one day, Robby stopped coming to our lessons. I thought about calling him, but assumed, because of his lack of ability, that he had decided to pursue something else. I was also glad that he stopped coming. He was a bad advertisement for my teaching. Several weeks later, I mailed to the students' homes a flyer on the upcoming recital. To my surprise, Robby, who received a flyer, asked me if he could be at the recital. I told him that the recital was for current pupils, and because he had dropped out, he really did not qualify. He said that his mom had been sick and unable to take him to piano lessons, but he was still practicing. Miss Hondrof, I have just got to play, he insisted. I don't know what led me to allow him to play in the recital. Maybe it was his persistence, or maybe it was something inside of me saying that it would be all right. The night for the recital came. The high school gymnasium was packed with parents, friends, and relatives. I put Robby up last in the program before I was to come up and thank all the students and play a finishing piece. I thought that any damage he would do would come at the end of the program, and I could always salvage his poor performance through my curtain closer. Well, the recital went off without a hitch. The students had been practicing, and it showed. Then Robby came up on the stage. His clothes were wrinkled and his hair looked like he run an egg beater through it. Why didn't he dress up like other students? I thought. Why didn't his mother at least make him comb his hair for the special night? Robbie pulled out the piano bench and he began. I was surprised when he announced that he had chosen Mozart's Concerto 21 in C major. I was not prepared for what I heard next. His fingers were light on the keys. They even danced nimbly on the ivories. He went from pianissimo to fortissimo, from allegro to virtuoso. His suspended chords that Mozart demands were magnificent. Never had I heard Mozart played so well by people his age. After 6.5 minutes, he ended in a grand crescendo, crescendo, and everyone was on their feet in the wild applause. Overcome and in tears, I ran up on the stage and put my arms around Robbie in joy. I have never heard you play like that, Robbie. How would you do it? Through his microphone, Robbie explained. Well, Miss Hondrof, remember I told you my mom was sick. Well, actually, she had cancer and passed away this morning. And well, she was born deaf, so tonight was the first time she ever heard me play. I wanted to make it special. There wasn't a dry eye in the house that evening. As the people from social service led Robbie from the stage to be placed into foster care, I noticed that even their eyes were red and puffy, and I thought to myself how much richer my life had been for taking Robbie as my pupil. No, I have never had a prodigy, but that night I became a prodigy of Robbie's. He was the teacher, and I was the pupil. For it is he that taught me the meaning of perseverance and love and believing in yourself, and maybe even taking a chance in someone and you don't know why. This is especially meaningful to me since after serving in Desert Storm, Robbie was killed in a senseless bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City in April 1995, where he was reportedly playing the piano. So we really don't know who we are guiding or what God makes us do with these children. So, as a teacher, it really touched my heart that when God gives us the opportunity to go inside the classrooms or to guide the children for some aspect in their lives, we should do it with our whole heart and support them because you don't know which Robbie will come back to your life. Thank you so much.